I was driving my Volvo from friends to house. In one village a drunk driver came over from property and he was trying to push my car off the road. Later when this was a T intersection I was turning right and this drunk driver was turning left and he was fast turned right and he was lost control. He was crashed out odd road. My brother saw an idiot in a raced Peugeot 106 overtake at over 80 miles per hour, spin the car and crash into a tree. The racemobile exploded on impact and sent the driver flying 500 feet down the road. Obviously he was killed instantly. My brother showed me the burn marks in the grass a few weeks later. In 2013, I was in a Honda Civic 2006 with my mother when a Buick LeSabre didn't look left and slammed into us on the side. It was a relatively minor crash, but the car skidded into the opposing lane. One day I was heading to school and at the highway gate it has a traffic pileup and it's very crowded. And at that time I was driving around 102 kilometers per hour and a white SUV car hit the brake and also same thing I did. The white car in front of me hits a grey hatchback car. Hatchback car was pushed to a white sedan car, the hatchback car body was deformed and the car started smoking out. I was saved. The person behind was a black sedan car and using handbrake, but the car was hit by an red MPV car. At that point I got out. I guess God blessed me so I could got to school safely. I was driving my 2010 Kia Ceed down the slip road onto the A1 carriageway, Kent and Bankfoot, Newcastle, and I was emerging and a Volvo XC90 slammed his brakes on in front of me and I was looking behind, looking for a gap to emerge, and I went right into the back of him. Happened 4 days after passing my driver's test. At the 16th of January 2015, we drove with our taxi, Ford Transit, at school. We arrived at the highway entrance and another car, Skoda Fabia, hit us at our right front fender. Luckily nobody was injured. The Skoda and Ford was definitely totaled. So this happened a few years back on our trip to Austria. It was a windy icy road, and our minivan, the closest to a Gen 2 Kashira, lost control at one point, and we crashed into an oncoming SUV. It was a low-speed crash, about 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. This happened in 2006. Okay, so my dad was driving his Mitsubishi Galant on the highway. Behind was my uncle in his Mitsubishi Lancer. Suddenly, a Mercedes coupe stopped. My dad couldn't brake on time, so he crashed into the Mercedes at 64 miles per hour. Then he spun out. My uncle also lost control and hit my dad on the rear at 62 miles per hour. Then two cars came and hit the side of my dad at 50 miles per hour. All cars were able to be fixed, but my uncle's car was mangled, but it also was able to be fixed. Hope you considered this. I remember a couple years ago, me and my mom were going by a gas station, and a car suddenly stopped and we rear-ended him. It was in a 2011 Chevy Aveo Red. Oh, here is my story. The year was 2018, I was driving with my family for a long vacation to another city. We were going home from that vacation. We were on a highway and the road was very slippery because of recent rain that had just gone past. So after that, there was bus on the left side of the road and we were on the right. And the bus actually tried to pass a truck in front of the bus, so they moved on to the right to overtake a truck, but it seemed that the bus driver didn't see us and they moved onto my lane and they almost hit us. But I slammed on my brakes and turned the car to right, but unfortunately there was a guardrail there. Another accident happened in 90s with my mother's father. They were going in blue-color Fiat Premier Pod Mini and met with an accident at night. They were returning from my mother's uncle. My uncle was small and was sleeping at the front as the cars of that era in India had bench-like seats at front, and my mom with her sister and a maid were seating at the back. My grandfather told to my grandmother that they should change the sleeping position of my uncle. In that time a drunk driver was coming, and at that time road were also very narrow, and so head-on collision happened. My uncle got thrown out of the windshield, my grandmother got blooded, and the steering wheel got inside my grandfather's chest. My mother with her sister fall on the floor of the car but was safe, and the maid was in just shock and she was just shouting, and then my grandmother searched for help and called my mom's uncle by getting telephone from someone as they were near. Grandfather's brother was called, but after all everybody was fine and mainly alive. Can anyone explain to me how anyone can overtake in a small turn where the driver can't see? Someone overtook the car in the turn where I was driving at the moment, and there was no to the clash and no accident luckily. I had a quick reflex that I managed to slow it down. I honked at him and him be careful on roads. You never know what can happen. This one happened to my friend few years ago. They all survived, but his leg broke. My sister was going to drive me to a friend, she missed the entrance and had to turn back. When she slowed down, almost to a stop, and turned the direction, she started to turn into the entrance, and then some Suzuki Swift driver was overtaking her and scratched her fender. Her car is a Toyota RAV4 2017. I was in a bus in the UK and another one was in front. They crashed into a building, and our brakes were bad, and we rear-ended them. A red car swerved out of the way. I was driving a silver Kia sedan, can't remember the name, and I was distracted and ran the red light, so then I was hit from the side at about 40 miles per hour by a black sedan. It happened around 12:20 p.m. I was driving to work at Starbucks around 8 o'clock I believe. I was at an intersection then, the light turned green as I was going across the intersection. I was halfway there, when a Chevy Tahoe crashed into my Toyota Camry. Luckily, no one was hurt. I was thinking that the Tahoe driver was not paying attention because she said that her light was green.